Hi, everybody. It's Alex Jarett again. I got a really great guy I want you to meet. It's Edgar Escobar, who's the CIO and COO at Grupo Alto. Hi, Edgar. How are you?
Hey Alex, how are you?
It's so great to see you again. I mean, we've known each other, I think, for about a year now. We've talked a couple times. I appreciate you taking your time here today. First, tell us about yourself and Grupo Alto. It's a really interesting company. And then I know you've got some stories you want to share about how you've already been very successfully using AI to get some pretty major returns. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I think it's a little bit combination of both. I've been all over. I started actually on the academics world, working on energy efficiency 20 plus years ago. I've been doing data for many, many years, technology, now operations, and that gives me a very broad level of
Yeah.
knowledge. So when that came to Alto, which what we do is try to reduce shrink. That's basically what we try to do, but we try to do it in a very innovative way.
So that
So
would be, for example, in a retail store, people stealing inventory or losing inventory. Just,
exactly,
yeah. Okay. All right. Go ahead. I just want to make sure we
exactly.
got that. Yeah. Go ahead.
So shrink, it's basically the difference between your inventory or what inventory you have at the end, and you might lose or have that shrink because of different reasons. One of those is people just stealing stuff.
Yeah.
So so the whole idea behind Alto is how we can perform or how we can be innovative enough to reduce that shrink.
Yep.
So my challenge, my objective is to bring technologies, is to bring different kind of innovative solutions to actually being able to perform better, to do better for our clients, and at the end, well, fix the problem, which is reducing shrink. That's probably the main challenge. But after that, it's client satisfaction, it's just how people feel when they go to a store. At the end, that's what you try to fix. I don't know if you've been to different retailers lately, but you have different things that are behind
Yeah.
glasses. It's really hard to buy, so you don't feel secure. You don't feel like buying. It's an experience anymore. So even though we want to reduce shrink, at the end we want happier people.
I know a number of people that work in retail, so I know this is a really big problem. The shrink is a really big problem, and this company that you have that you're working at, it's really interesting. You have all kinds of areas. It starts with the surveillance, but there's a lot more to it than just the cameras, right?
That's right. The way that we operate, we actually have three teams. The first one is a more operational team. Of course, it changes country to country, but this
Yeah.
team is basically responsible for visiting stores, performing audits, maybe going through some training to employees. So that's one team. The
Uh-huh.
second team, it's more of a investigation team. So they
Oh,
actually used to be either police officers or they used to be well, basically they were into law enforcement,
yes.
and their job is to actually fully understand the problems that stores or different clients are facing. And the third one, it's actually lawyers. So we
Oh,
have people that make sure that when something happens, there's a consequence. And that's probably where we're really strong at. So that's one of the challenges that we have. We have to make sure that every time that we put in a lawyer, well, we win because that's what we want uh, people to understand that if you messed up with a specific store, well, there are going to be consequences, and the best way to do it is just making sure that there are legal consequences.
so you make sure it sticks, is what I'm hearing. So somebody does
Exactly.
something, yeah, somebody does something in one of your protected stores, you all have the infrastructure and the team to make sure it sticks. What a great service. So let's talk about AI. And you mentioned you actually have an AI team and a couple of the projects that you've done. I think you mentioned the first one was a cloud storage issue.
Yeah, that's right. So I guess before getting into there, the big challenge is that AI has been around for many, many years.
Right.
So 15, 20 years. So our biggest challenge was not doing AI because we had to, but we have a challenge, we have a problem, and AI will help us to fix it. So probably people don't go enough through this, but it was not about AI. It was about
Yep.
finding the right tool to a specific problem.
Yeah.
And just because of it, AI fixed the problem. So I'm going to share actually two very short stories where this helped. The first one was very tech related, and it was how much we were spending on the cloud. So
Uh-huh.
as you know, 10 years, 5 years ago, well, everyone's using cloud now, and the
Yeah,
way that you use cloud is probably not the most efficient one. So we were actually spending around 800 K a year, and we
makes
didn't. The
sense.
first problem that we had is we didn't know if that was a lot or not. So we start working within the team trying to understand if that was a good or a bad number. And we
Oh, that's
realized
interesting.
that,
That's interesting. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, so that was our first problem. We didn't know if it was a lot or not. So after having several conversations, Gen AI conversations at the
Yeah.
time, and different ways to fully understand our purpose, we realized that yes, we were somewhere around 20% higher than average.
Yeah.
So that was a great deal because we found that we had a problem. So
Oh, I
now
get you.
what
You
was,
identified a very
yeah.
clear, tangible problem that you could fix. Go ahead. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
before that, we really didn't even have a problem. So the
Mm.
first thing that we needed to find is, well, a result, an expected result, and an
Yep.
actually specific problem. So afterwards, to be honest, it was very technical and very easy. It was hard
Yeah.
technically speaking, but it was very easy to actually solve the problem.
Right.
So we basically cut the problem into three different problems. The first one was data collection. So just making sure that the data that we were bringing in was actually the data that we would want to use. So we start using tools. I don't want to go into specific providers, but
Yeah.
CloudWatch. So making sure that we use CPU, memory, knowing what's our latency. So trying to understand our metrics. That was really, really important. The second
Interesting.
was understanding our usage reports. Before we didn't really know what we were using. So we started using Athena, just trying to fully understand how, when, why we were using data. And finally, we started using Apache and Kafka just to fully understand real time when and how we're using those resources. Trying
Yep.
to understand at the end if we were when and why we were using a lot of information. So at the end, it was very simple. It was just about trying to find peaks and trying eventually to just, well, cut off those peaks if it was possible. So afterwards, it was more about predicting and analyzing. So
Yep.
when I'm going to have the next peak. So we start using SageMaker and we start doing just time series forecasting just to say, hey, why do we have a peak in our usage every day at 5 p.m.? I'm just
Right.
making things
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
when we found all the little tweaks that we needed to do, it was more about implementing the right tools. So Kubernetes using nodes or using autoscaler, but in a proper way, just
Yep.
making sure that we have the proper instances, the proper workloads, and even killing processes. There were many, many processes you cannot imagine that we didn't know that we were not supposed to use, or we didn't even know that we were using because before when you had physical servers, well, it was really easy because you had someone checking it out. But now you just scale and you spend money. You don't really find out that you have
Yeah.
a problem.
You just keep
So
going. You keep going.
exactly,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's right. So after we put all of this in place, so at the end, like you said, data collection, prediction,
Yeah.
and execution, actually making sure that we had the right nodes and we had the right reliability, and we were making sure that we were either triggering the right processes or killing the right processes, we had really good results. So make it very straight, we moved to 800K to somewhere around 450K a year. So that was actually higher than one expected. We cut our costs about 50%.
Yeah. You were thinking 20% up front. That's
Um,
what you said,
how
right? Right. That was your problem. But now you went to 50.
exactly.
Yeah.
We're
That's huge.
expecting
That's a huge
25
win.
and we ended
Yeah.
up almost 50. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a really good win.
Yeah.
And the most important part, which probably you don't see,
Yeah.
is as you build, and people in the tech world know this, we have a big debt. We have a big tech debt.
Yeah.
And as technology has been evolving,
Yeah.
that tech debt is higher by the time. So we save money, but we also start saving time because many of
Ah,
our the developers and engineers spend a lot of time trying to follow all these processes. By implementing and by being more productive, well, they had time for other stuff, just probably just improving, documenting things that are usually at the end.
That's
Well,
really interesting.
now you had more time to do it. So it was really good. We ended up saving time, saving money on different clusters, CPU utilization, something that was really important. And this is something that you have to take into account. We stopped having outages because before you had those peaks in usage and well, the system is slow. Why? We didn't even know why. Now, given everything that we implemented, our SLA is improved,
Yeah.
and basically we didn't have those small outages that people would feel like, oh, the system's slow. No.
What role did you use AI in to help you accomplish this? I mean, great outcome.
So I would say two of them. The first one, it's like I said, it helped us a lot to actually uh, put the problem into words. So it was
Got you.
like a good advisor. So that was one part of it. That
Yep.
was more the Gen AI piece. The
Yeah.
second piece, it was just the tools. Most of the tools that I talked about, they are
Yep.
AI or ML based, and we usually don't know that. So, for example, Kubernetes, Kafka, those are based on AI. We just forgot that they are because everything moves so fast.
Because we've been
So
using
many
them
of
for,
the tools
yeah,
that we
gotcha.
used for data collection, prediction, they're AI based.
That's such a deep insight. First of all, the fact that I've heard this from another very successful executive, the same thing that you just mentioned, which is you use AI as a team member to figure out the problem and to come up with your process, which is what you did. You figured out the problem with the help of AI as a team member. And that helped you identify the problem. And then the tools that you use themselves, I mean, it's happening all around us. We don't even know it. I mean, if you think about it, AI was in the original spell checker, right? Machine learning, so which is a
That's right.
very, yeah. So, not everybody is aware of that. It's been around for a long time, like you said. So the tools that you're using, that certainly classifies as an AI win because you're using specialized tools that have AI in their framework. So that's a great story. So let's go with the second story. You got even another AI win, the legal area. I know you said you've had some big wins in the legal area as well with the help of AI. So if you could share that, that'd be really interesting.
That's right. So I'll go straight to the challenge. One of the things that we do, like as I said, is we bring success in our legal cases. So
Uh-huh.
when we go back to the store and we'll go back to the just to the city, or we go back to just the people that are around there, they know that if they go to a store that has our logo, well, there are going to be consequences. That's our main
Yeah.
objective. So our
Oh,
challenge, we
see,
need to be very successful so
gotcha.
people know that there's going to be, well, just basically retaliation if you do something wrong. So our challenge was, this is
I
for
get
one
it.
of our specific markets. We had around 3,000 cases a year. So our how this works, people start reporting events of lawyers, basically people stealing, and
Uh-huh.
we transform those into legal cases. The problem we had is that we were only winning around 2% of those cases.
Wow.
What was the problem? Well, at the end, well, resources. We had lawyers that were overworking, and at the clients that were frustrated because they don't pay us to have lawyers. They pay us
Right.
to make a change.
You get the
So basically,
results.
what
Yeah.
exactly? So basically, the solution, and you might think about it, was very straightforward. We use an
Yeah.
AI-driven engine to properly select those cases. So basically, what we do, we have a lot of information. We have over 20 years of information. We start analyzing our
Oh,
historical outcomes. We start analyzing the case characteristics. We start analyzing the jurisdictions that we had specific cases in order to properly choose which cases we're going to take. So at the end, we moved from taking somewhere 3,000 cases a year to
yep.
700 cases a year. When we did that, well, a lot of things happened. The first one, it's automatically, well, we improved because we're winning the same amount of cases, but one fifth of the work. So that was a big change. The second was that even by having less cases, the efficiency of our lawyers increased. So actually moved from that, I don't know, 2 to 10% to actually
Wow.
20-25%.
Wow.
And the third impact that was because we had more time, and actually the legal force and the just the yeah the jurisdictions and different places that we work, they were saying, oh, it's good to work with these people. They're not sending me, I don't like to say it this way, but trash, but they're sending me actually winnable cases.
Yeah, they
I'm
want
going
that
to
too. The
exactly.
judges want that. They want cases that it's really been thought through, that 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 respect the fact that you're in the court system and yes, you're prepared, right? And it's a good case. They want good cases. Yeah.
Exactly. We call it
Yeah.
a case in a box. So basically, what we do is we give
Yeah.
them higher quality and make sure that they're higher impact cases. So at the end, they start working happily with us. They're going, oh, this is a case that I might win. So the combination of these
Yeah.
three aspects, like I said, having more time, our lawyers having more time, just making sure that they were more efficient, and team impact with the different people that are around the case, well, that moved our number from, like I said, 1 to 2% to around 25-30%.
That's incredible.
So that was, and again, it seems very simple, and to a certain point it was,
Yeah.
but it was just a very thoughtful process in which we understood the data that we had, and we used our AI driven engine to not only choose the cases, but actually helped us, again, like a team member, to,
Yeah.
hey, where
Team
can
member.
we fix the problem? And that's something that we did. And at the end, something that is important, our takeaway or our objective was not to lose lawyers, it was actually to make them more efficient. So that was really important. We had better lawyers, we had happier clients, and we basically were just responding to our promise. So now when someone goes into a store, they start thinking, hey, something is going to happen because I know that when I do something in a specific store, the rate, the successful rate is going to be really, really high. So it's just not going to go away, basically.
It's a, that is such a great story. And again, if I go back to the original use of AI, it's the team member that you just mentioned. With your, what's interesting is your background was in data, is
That's
in
right.
data. So this all ties together. So you have the team members, helping, having AI as part of the team, identifying these are the winnable cases. So now when the bad guys, I'll just use that phrase, they see your logo on the store, because they're the same people in a jurisdiction. You're trying to go after the regulars, the gangs, the regulars, that this is their business, you
That's
know.
right.
And so when they see your logo, they're good, they're more apt to say, we'll leave this one alone, right? Because they want easy pickings. That's what
Yeah,
they're after.
you got it right. And
Yeah,
at the end, that's what we're looking for. And from my perspective,
yeah,
yes, I've been doing data for my whole life.
yeah.
AI,
You
it's
have,
not
yeah,
new for me. AI has been around actually for 100 years. It was actually before traditional models. So something that we need to do is show people that AI, it's not magic. It's just a tool that we need to
it's
fully
yeah,
understand where and how to use it. And I think that if we're capable of doing that, we'll actually be able to get value out of AI. If we think of AI just like the new kid on the block and
yeah.
we need to start using it because we have to use it and he has to be on the group because he needs to be on the group, I think that we're going to fail. We need to realize that at the end, the problem is the same. We have the same challenges that we have before, but we have a better tool to fix them. So
That's
we
right.
need to fully understand how this tool is going to fix it. If you have a screwdriver, you can have the best one, but it won't work as a hammer. If you fully understand the problem that you're trying to fix, well, now you have a mechanical screwdriver, so it's going to work better. And I don't know if it makes sense.
It makes total sense. I really like your whole approach in terms of both of these projects, how you identify the business problem first, the fact that you even had a business problem in the first case. You knew the second case, you knew that that was a problem. But in the first case, identifying you even had a problem, you used AI to help you figure that out. And the
That's right.
second in the second case, you used AI again as a team member with your internal knowledge. That's what made it valuable, was your data combined with the teams, the human team members, the internal knowledge, where you could identify, okay, if we're going to be a real deterrent, let's win some cases. Let's win a high percentage of cases. Because if they're in a scenario where, even if they get arrested and they get let go the next day or 3 days later, and their lawyers, are getting them off, that's not a deterrent. It's just a hassle. That's a
All
cost of
right.
doing business for them. These have been great stories. You're good. First of all, you're a great storyteller, but what I like about it is you really identify the business objective and how you use the AI and then the results. So anything else you want to share before we close it out?
Yeah, we talked about AI as a team member, and I
Yeah,
think that you need to think as a very young, smart team member. So you need to go through the process of explaining to
good
it
idea.
how to do things. Probably you've heard the concept hallucinations. AI tends to hallucinate a lot because they don't have all the information they need. Something that you need to do properly is educate your AI tool. Tell them your problem, fully explain the process, fully explain the parts of what you try to fix. And by doing that, which is a long process, it takes time, then you'll have a tool that will help you a lot to fully understand and probably fix very complex problems.
That's great. Well, listen, thank you so much for doing this. I know our audience is going to love this. And hopefully we can get you on one of our webinars. We got one coming up. We'll talk about that offline. Thank you, Edgar. We appreciate you. And thanks for doing this quick session for everybody.
Thank you, Alex.